All right, guys, so let's go over what I would consider 5 essential kicks that you need for self-defense. And let me say this first, that the efficacy of any technique that you learn in martial arts is not the technique itself, but whether or not you can pull it off. How hard do you train? Under what conditions do you train? What's your attribute set like? As well as what's the environment that you're looking to execute this technique, whatever it may be. What's the surface that you're on, right? Kicking is very precarious because you're picking one leg up off the ground, let's face it, right? But there's certain types of kicks or even low-line attacks, we might say, that are highly effective, highly combative, and again, used at the right time and in the right range is what's going to dictate whether or not they're useful. So again, the concept of whether something is useful or not is, I think, not the right question to ask. It's more like how often do you train that technique? So again, you know, a flying side kick, you know, if you're doing it all the time, you've been doing it for 20 years and you can do it on the spot and all these things, then, you know, it might be an effective technique. But if we're looking at something that's a little bit more pragmatic and something that, you know, we could use quickly and effectively, then this is what we're going to talk about today. Now, the other thing we need to talk about are what are the targets. And I'm going to focus specifically on low-line targets. Now, unfortunately, my dummy here doesn't have knees and shins and stuff, but you can kind of imagine where we're going with this and visualize it yourself. In terms of training, you can do all kinds of things to really get this down. Now, ideally, a live partner is the best. And, you know, you can do things like put like baseball shin guards on, like catcher shin guards on, you know, to use so that someone can be moving while you're hitting certain targets. You just got to be really, really careful with some of these techniques because they are designed to take out that person's ability to move, right? So how you train it and stuff like that is going to be really, really important in this. So let's get into the 5 kicks. Okay, so the first kick I'm going to go over is just a straight kick to the kneecap. Now I have shoes on, so that's another thing that's going to dictate what's effective. If it's summertime and you walk around flip-flops or bare feet, you're going to have to change your tactic. But since I got shoes on, I can use the shoe as sort of a weapon, as a tool. And so the first one is just a quick toe kick to the kneecap. What I like about it is I don't need to compromise my stance, compromise my base at all. I can just quickly hit, boom, without losing my stance too much, right? If I'm in a fence position, even if I'm backing off, I can do a quick kick without really threatening my base, right? So it's just a quick little snap and a toe right into the kneecap. It doesn't take much. You dislocate that kneecap or even just injure it a little bit, you can distort that person's ability to move, right? So quick shot to the knee, you want to practice both leads, right? So that you're just here, bang, quick, right? So that's the first one, toe kick to the knee. Okay, second one, very similar, but what it is a straight stomping kick. I'm just, boom, pushing here like this. Now again, all these are in conjunction with my hands, right? So the best sort of application would be some sort of upper line distraction. Maybe I go into the eyes and then I attack the low line, right? Or I fake and then attack the low line, right? So they're looking here and I'm able to hit that target, okay? So again, what we're doing here is just, doesn't matter with what part of the foot so much, it's just I'm getting, boom, my push, I'm getting my bottom of my foot right onto the knee, stopping that leg, distorting them or disrupting their ability to function, right? Either working both legs. Front leg's going to be a little bit easier. Rear leg's going to be having more power, right? So again, it's the range and the targets. But right here, we're just bang, stomping right at the knee. So that's number 2. Number 3, okay, now I'm using the same target, okay, the knee. People are saying, why not the groin? Well, the groin is definitely a target, and we'll get into in a second. But here, the knee is just easier to access, right? And I'm looking at distorting, I call it distorting, right? Disrupting, whatever you want to call it, but taking out this person's mobility. The groin kick is very powerful and very functional, but sometimes you hit the groin, especially, you know, we're talking about hitting a man in the groin especially, it's like a delayed reaction, okay? It doesn't always get the response right away that you want. But when you take out the knee, it's not much of a delay. As soon as that person's having a hard time moving, I can either go in for my finish, whatever that's going to be, whether it's striking, whether I'm looking to just contain them, or I can exit, right? So that's what I like about attacking the knees first, right, is that it actually disrupts their ability to function. They might be hopped up on something, so the pain doesn't do anything, right? So if you go for a pain type attack, it might not do anything, and now you're even in a worse position because you just took that foot off the ground, again, depending on your speed and how well you train it. But that being said, what I'm going to use here is what we call an oblique kick. Now, there's two ways I can do this. Again, I can stomp it just like the last kick I showed you, right, where I'm stomping down on the knee, or I can rake up the knee like that, right? So again, I don't need to change my body position to execute this strike, right? I'm not rotating in or anything like that on this one. All I got to do is that or that, right? It's going to be very quick here or here, but it's my rear leg that I'm doing it with, right? So we just use the term oblique kick, but it has different functions, right? It's either stomping or it's raking. Sometimes it stomps and goes all the way through like we stomp to the inside of the knee. Very effective. Be careful training that one. That's number 3. All right, now number 4 is kind of a side kick, okay? So again, I'm not necessarily chambering it and stomping, although I could, and that's very effective, very powerful. But what I'm using this for now, this depends on my positioning and my range, but I'm jamming the kneecap here like this. Again, we're going after the knee on all these, right? Boom, here like that. So again, we sometimes use it to just stop the person, right? And again, look, now again, the range is important too, right? But look, I don't need to do a lot with my body position, right? Boom, I'm hitting here like this. Front leg, if I'm in this position, boom, maybe I'm able to just hit the knee again, or I can punch it a little bit here like this, where you chamber it. Again, everything requires training, right? So you need to practice that motion, get the balance in your opposite leg and practice that impact. Then you need to try to train it with a partner using pads, and then eventually you want to be training with somebody, right? But you just got to be really careful with that attack because it is meant to damage the knee. You don't want to damage your sparring partners, right? So, but anyways, that's what we're doing here with this, is trying to hit right into that knee. And again, if it caused distraction, then we can go in with other tools, right? Even if we just cause a little disruption, then we can use the highline attacks. So that's our 4th kick, is a side kick to the knee. Okay, then the last one I'm going to go over. Now this one again is debatable, controversial maybe, I don't know. But it is the big leg kick like we use in Muay Thai. Very powerful kick, right? Now again, in sport, we're not allowed to hit the knee. We're not supposed to. We're hitting the thigh. We're trying to slow that person down. There's a lot of great targets, right? The sciatic, right? Right above the knee, right below the hip. It kind of slows that person's down. If you kick somebody, if you're well trained and you throw that big round kick to the leg and someone's never felt that before, that could be it. That could stop them. But the problem with this kick, I will say, is again, everything I said in the prior kicks is now I'm throwing a lot of my body into that. I'm putting myself in a slightly precarious position for that kick, right? Because I'm throwing all my weight, even though it's low, I'm still throwing all my weight into that rotation. Whereas the other kicks, we're doing quick little snappy attacks to the knee. Here we're throwing a lot of our body weight, which is what makes it powerful, but also is a disadvantage. So when you're going to apply that, it's very important, right? I think you need to have this person almost backed off and even turned away before hitting them. Because even somebody untrained might just step right into that kick. They'll take the leg kick, but they'll pound you in the face, right? And so that's the problem with the low line round kick. However, when done at the right time, can be a fight ender, can be very devastating, and especially if you catch that person's knee. So in conjunction with other things, right? But that kick to the knee, a lot of people like for combat, for self-defense, and for a reason, because it's very effective. But I think that overall, the other ones are going to be a lot safer for you to use, even in this kind of context, right? Because I don't need to commit so much. Okay, but I'm throwing that in that list there, the big round kick to the leg. And again, the best way, to practice power with that is get on the heavy bag, work that full rotation, pivot, boom, all the way in. Keep your hands up in front, okay? Because again, some people might just punch right into your kick. You don't want to get knocked out while you're throwing the leg kick. Okay, one last thing now. I said 5, but a little bonus because this isn't really a kick, but it is a low line attack, but you need your knees, right? Quick spike knees to the thigh, to the groin. Again, with attachment are very powerful. Grabbing something on this person, their head, their hair, their clothing, and driving a knee into anywhere in the pelvic region, driving it, stepping either through, right, or doing a quick so that you can throw other tools, right? Very effective, very important to your self-defense, low-line attack arsenal. So again, guys, more importantly than the kicks are how you train them. Build up the balance, build up your speed, build up your timing. And then again, for anything that's like self-defense oriented, you're going to want to keep ramping up your environmental training. Practice it, you know, out in the park, on the street, or on a concrete or something like that. Get used to doing it outside of the dojo, right? And especially if you're barefoot all the time in training, you're going to want to put shoes on. You're going to want to practice some of these things in street clothes, and then even ramp it up more to where you're now in sort of a fence position or whatever you can do to simulate something outside of, say, a controlled environment. But first, do it in control. Do it in the dojo. Do it on the heavy bags. Get lots of reps and start to ramp up, you know, your training. Work both leads, all that stuff. So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Check out down below in our description. We got a free course for you as well. So just click that link down below. You see it in the description. Check out some more of our videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.